Hey guys, it is John C Morley here. It is great to be with you, serial entrepreneur. And I wanted to thank you guys for definitely tuning in to us tonight because we have another great show. And I think one that you're actually going to really be happy you tuned in for. We're here every single night or different times of the day, as you know that. I do want to thank you for being here. And I do want to give a big shout out to you guys because right now, the Inspirations for Your Life show is at over 143,100 downloads. Wow, guys, that's incredible. We've had over 40,000 downloads in the last 30 days and a couple thousand just in the last day or so. So really good. We're definitely growing. Definitely scan that QR code, ladies and gentlemen. When you do that, you'll go to my link tree and then go to TikTok and definitely follow me there as well as the other channels because we want to get high on TikTok, a few thousand, so that we can stream live. Right now, we don't have enough to stream to TikTok live, and we want to be able to stream all of our programs live here, not just the ones that we're doing here. So, we have a limit right now that we can't stream to TikTok. So hopefully you guys can help us out with that. Really would appreciate that. Whether you're here at 10 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock in the morning, 3 a.m., 3 p.m., 12 noon, 12 a.m., makes no difference. Thank you so much for being here. I am your host, John C Morley, serial entrepreneur, and I'm a podcast host and I'm a podcast coach. And I'm a specialist in helping businesses tell a story that leads to them growing and being more scalable and, of course, more profitable. I typically do work with companies that bring in 10 million or more. They either know the story, they want me to find their story, but they're all about learning it from the truth. I think that's the most important thing, learning it from the truth, from the core. All right, let's kick this off, everyone. Are you ready? Okay. So our master topic for the week, in case you guys didn't know, it's finding our way to becoming a leader. Yesterday, we had a great discussion on scouts and how that prepares people to be leaders. So let's dig into what tonight's nugget is, all right? And that is overcoming bad leadership. Series 3 means we're in the third year. Show 4, episode number 3. So let's kick it right off. How do we identify bad leaders? Well, there are different components to that, right? But this is what it is. How do we identify bad leaders? And this is part 1. There's going to be a part 2 because there's actually quite a few ways. So I didn't want to put that all into one show, everyone. All right. So let's get to talking about this, shall we? So the first thing is leaders who can't see it. They probably won't find it ever. What does that mean, guys? It means that you've got to have a vision. You got to know what you want. Can't see it, you'll never get it. That's number 1. Number 2, when leaders fail to lead themselves. So, for example, maybe you have heard this before where somebody actually is trying to do something, but they don't do it because they're not disciplined. I don't mean that they are not able to accomplish one thing in their life, but typically a good leader is someone that is able to be disciplined. Now, there are challenges where sometimes they can't do something, but that doesn't make them a bad leader. If they're good in many other skills, then they're probably a good leader. So leaders, when leaders fail to lead themselves, like I said, self-discipline, consistency, a passion, that's what needs to be in a good leader. When they lack that, that's a problem. So another one is, like I said, is being aware of the know-it-all. You know this leader, the leader that knows everything. You can't possibly know anything because they're an expert at everything. They're actually an expert. And so that's how it works. You can't know more than they do. The leader that knows everything, right? It's a syndrome. I call it the syndrome of the leader or the person who knows everything. So how does this go? Well, the thing is, when people try to overexert what they have And granted, people are always learning, and I think that's fantastic. I'm always learning. But I think when you're a leader, you have to realize if you don't know something, that you need to get the resources and learn about that. There's nothing wrong with saying, hey, I haven't worked on that before. I need to research it, right? Or deploy a team that can handle that. That's really what it's about, ladies and gentlemen. And I know you're probably saying to me, well, John, I know a lot of people that are know-it-alls, right? And I guarantee you that they probably are not leaders. Okay. There was an article written, I forget how long ago it was written, but it was written a long time ago. And they called them the 4 dysfunctional leader types. One of those dysfunctional leader types is the person that basically knows everything. And so leaders do know a lot, but a leader has to be humble and understand that that's not how it always is. So how do you handle a leader that claims they know it all? Because they really don't. To understand this a little better, you'll probably understand that a know-it-all is a person who constantly presents their input as though they were professionally trained, schooled, or have firsthand insights into subjects, which is clearly evident that they have no clue about, and they have not any schooling about or experience about. So they tend to monopolize conversations, dismiss input from others, and make decisions without first considering the facts. After all, they're the know-it-all and they know everything. Know-it-alls can be very frustrating to work with. They tend to speak more than they listen. They often are close-minded. They simply know an idea either will or won't work, and they're not open to discussion about it. Some know-it-alls can come across as opinionated, aggressive, very rude. And these traits will not win over a lot of people at the office or in a community. And in fact, they can be easily construed as what we would say bullying behavior. In fact, a lot of this happens on school boards, parent teachers associations, or even volunteer organizations, because after all, I know everything. So you have to listen to me. I mean, you just got on the board yesterday. I've been on the board for 4 years. See, that's no way to handle it. So there's a few things you can do to deal with a know-it-all. First of all, don't get annoyed with them, right? Seems obvious, but don't get annoyed with them. Don't try to school them about how they should be acting. That'll just really cause the fire to get into a blaze. Pick your battles. You may not win, every small battle. Worry about winning the war. And so when you have a know-it-all, it can be exhausting and challenging to deal with them, okay? When your best response is to ignore their helpful hints as much as possible. Thanks for the suggestion. Instead of engaging them in ongoing conversation, or thanks for the tip, I'll make a note of it. That's it. Ask probing questions. Be respectful. And when you see that they can't really shine the shoes or be able to lay the mustard on the pretzel, then figuratively speaking, then you know that they're not someone who knows it. And you don't have to show them up. You can just politely move the conversation away from them, or just not put a high level of, let's say, integrity on what they're saying, or a high level of merit. Make sure you have your own facts, ladies and gentlemen. This is really key. Maybe it's a presentation. Maybe you're selling an idea. Just be confident with your facts. And if somebody says to you, well, that's not the case. Well, I understand that you're an expert in that. Now, I also have done extensive research before I came out today, and I've got proof from Google. I've got proof from the American Psychology Association. I've got proof from the National Engineering Association, and I've also got proof from the National Developers Group. And I have actually brought the papers to show where I have obtained that proof from. Is the behavior non-correctable? Well, isms pop up in every area of our society. Some of them are due to access information. Some just have bad habits and they have to be in control. Recognize that it's possible that a know-it-all may be clueless about the impact of his or her behavior, and you want to be respectful with them so that they can politely stop. If you suspect that the person is causing an issue with their behavior, gently point this out during an informal discussion, and it's best to do it not with them at the meeting. Hey, Jim, I know you always love to give great information, and I appreciate that. We have several engineers on the board, and we also have some people that have been doing this for many, many years for the community. And I think it's important that we get their input. I'm happy to get some of your input as well. But I think it's important that, we hear from some of these people that have been working on multi-billion-dollar projects, and we're just very blessed to have them on the board. So I think we should obviously, seek their input and see how it can help us. I know I'm looking to learn from them, and hopefully you can learn from them. Do you have best practices that are set in stone because they always work? Never, ever fail, and bring it with you everywhere you go. Correct others often. That's a problem. There's no conversation happening around you that you aren't aware of, and you have a difficulty to digest that someone in your office knows more than you. It's okay if you know more than me, but let's make sure that you're giving me the facts. Okay? Maybe your desk is a mess, or your computer's a mess, and you seem to always know how to clean it up. But maybe somebody doesn't want that. A Microsoft CEO actually gave a brilliant tip, and I'll quote this. I was reading it not in the context of business or work culture, but in the context of children's education. And he says, the author describes the simple metaphor of kids at school. One of them is a know-it-all, and the other is a learn-it-all. And the learn-it-all always does better than the other one, even if the know-it-all kid starts with much more innate ability. Going back to business, if this applies to boys and girls at school, I think it might apply to CEOs, just like this person here is stating, and entire organizations like Microsoft and IBM and so many others out there. So the key is don't be a know-it-all, be a learn-it-all. A learn-it-all is someone who's always looking to enhance their skills. That's how it works. But they're not looking to put others down. All right, so communication is key in every context. If there's a failure to communicate, that's a problem. Like maybe you were in the middle of a discussion and somebody was supposed to report back to you what was going on, but for whatever reason, they didn't report back to you. And now that communication broke down, and suddenly you can't make the appropriate decisions that you had to because you are not armed with the facts. Another one, ladies and gentlemen, is it's all about them. Yeah, it's all about me. I mean, I'm the one that's important, not you. There's something wrong with that picture. Something wrong with that picture. You should be there to facilitate, to learn, and to understand, but never, ever, ladies and gentlemen, to put people down. I want to go back to a context that I had with somebody a while back. And I let them know that something wasn't going to work because of the way our company does something. And they were very nasty. They said, well, we'll find someone that does. They didn't even want to hear why we don't do it that way. And if they would have let me speak, I would have said, well, we've tried it the other way, and we have actually found that it costs our customers more money. Thus, we've pioneered this approach about 10 years ago. It saves them money, and it also keeps people more informed and makes people be part of a team instead of a dictatorship. So a lot of times people are not going to back what you do. Unfortunately, that's going to happen. That is going to happen. And unfortunately, you might be wondering why. And I think the reason why is because people just want answers immediately. Okay? They want answers immediately. And by having answers immediately, they feel that this is going to give them everything they need. But really what it does is it disempowers them and it doesn't give them the answers and it makes them look like a jerk. So overcoming bad leadership is something that every organization wrestles with. Here's one of my favorites. They don't sing a little Kumbaya. And you're like, what do you mean, John? They don't sing a little Kumbaya? Well, everything's about love and leadership, right? Those are two important words, but you don't hear them in the same sentence. So it's important that we love and that we lead. Without love being present and practiced, well, leadership really doesn't exist. You can even take a look at many failed leaders, and you'll find that they had no ability or traits that embodied love. They had misplaced love, misguided love, and yes, they came into many failures that were very sad. Empathy, humility, and kindness are signs of leadership strength, not weakness. And whenever somebody, tries to combat me when I use, empathy and humility and kindness, I say, look, please don't take my kindness, my humility, and my empathy for weakness. That's a powerful statement. Very, very powerful statement. And I think as you embrace this, thinking about the fact that leadership is about love. Well, I'm going to end there right now. We will definitely have part 2 tomorrow. I am John C Morley, serial entrepreneur, and you know who I am by now. But in case you don't know who I am, I will be happy to tell you. I am John C Morley, serial entrepreneur, and I am a podcast host and a podcast coach. And I'm a specialist in helping businesses tell a story that leads to them growing and being more scalable and, of course, more profitable. I typically do work with companies that bring in 10 million or more. They either know the story or they don't. They want somebody to come in and find it, but they want to find it from the truth. They don't want to just create a story for business. They want something that they can hang their hat on and that people in the company, as well as others outside, can be proud to be a part of. All right, guys, I hope you have an amazing rest of your evening. And remember, leadership is something that oftentimes gets abused. It's important for good leaders to make sure that they, as well as everyone else on their team, respect leadership and use the power in a way that is going to help others, not hurt them, not demean them, and of course, not make them feel in a manner that would be disrespectful. All right, guys, have yourself a fantastic evening. We'll catch you tomorrow, all right? Be well, everyone.